Welcome to the Idiot's Guide. I'm Mackie Hall, and being able to distort text to match a shape has always been a strength of Illustrator. Want proof? Check out almost any logo. Fortunately, with some of the available tools, distorting text is not that hard. Today I'm going to go over one of the more easy to use tools called Envelope Distort Make with Top Object. So with that in mind, check out what we're going to be doing today. Now, Envelope Distort Make with Top Object does have its limitations. So with that in mind, I'm going to show you what it does well, where it falls short, and then I'm going to offer some workarounds and perhaps even give you a lead into my next video. With that in mind, let's get started. All right, let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new document. Note that our new document will have a width of 1,000 points, a height of 1,000 points, a single artboard, and the RGB color mode. Please note that before we get started, we are using the Essentials layout. You can find the Essentials layout on the top right-hand corner of your screen. Simply click there, select Essentials. Also note that we're using the Smart Guides. To see them, all you need to do is select View and select Smart Guides or select Control U. One final thing is to note that at the bottom of the page we are going to be including tips and tricks and also key command recommendations. Alright, let's get started again with Envelope Distort Make with Top Object. The first thing we're going to do is select our shape. We're going to grab our rectangle tool and click anywhere on the page. Let's create a rectangle that's 100 points wide, 100 points tall. It doesn't really matter what the fill or the stroke is. For this purpose though, let's go ahead and set a black fill and a transparent stroke, just like that. Next, what we'll do is we'll select our type tool and let's write the word box. Anywhere on the screen, it doesn't matter really where it is. We'll select all of our type and let's select Arial Black. Please note that Arial Black is generally a default type on both Mac and PC. It's readily available almost anywhere on the web. Once that type is selected, let's bring up our type window. You can do that by selecting Control T or of course selecting Window, Type, and Character. Once that's done, let's select our right menu and let's select All Caps. To deselect our type, we can do two things. The first thing we can do is grab our selection tool, then click anywhere on screen to deselect our type. Another thing we can do, let's try it again, is we can press our Control key, and notice when we do that, that our selection tool comes up, and then we can click anywhere on our screen as well. Since we know Envelope Distort Make with Top Object operates with the top object, we'll need to select our rectangle and ensure that it is in fact our top object. Let's grab our selection tool. We'll select that, then we'll select Object, Arrange, Bring to Front, or of course Shift Control right bracket. Once that's done, we'll deselect our shape, then drag across both our type and square. Once that's done, we'll select Object, Envelope Distort, Make with Top Object, or of course we can hit Control-Alt-C. There you go. Let's move this to the top left and get started with our next shape. Alright, let's do the same thing with an ellipse. This time around, let's click and hold our rectangle tool or select our ellipse tool. We'll click anywhere on screen, and again we'll make our shape 100 points wide by 100 points tall. Again, I'm not concerned with the color of our shape, but again, for instructional purposes, let's make our fill black and our stroke transparent. This time around, let's select our type tool and let's input round again with Arial Black as our typeface. Also note that all caps is selected as well for our type. Next thing we'll do is let's deselect our type. Let's grab our select tool and select our ellipse. Once that's selected, let's go Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. Once again, we'll select both our ellipse and our type. Once that's selected, we will select Object, Envelope Distort, Make with Top Object, or again, Control-Alt-C. We'll deselect, and we've got our type modified with our top object. Now I know that before I said that Envelope Distort Make with Top Object does not work very well with complex objects, but we can still step it up just a little bit. Here's an example. Let's grab our rectangle tool, and let's make our shape once again 100 points wide by 100 points tall. We're going to grab our direct select tool this go around. We'll select it. We'll grab our top left corner and we'll arrow that down 30 points. We do that by holding our shift key, which moves elements in 10-point increments. So we'll do that 1, 2, 3. We'll do the same thing with our bottom left anchor point. 1, 2, 3. Once again, let's change our shape fill color to black and our stroke to transparent. Once that's done, let's grab our type tool and let's right angle again with Arial black. We'll deselect. Again, we'll hold our control key and click anywhere on screen. We'll then grab our selection tool and once again we'll click on our shape, select object, arrange, bring to front. We'll then select both our shape and our type, and this time around let's select Control Alt C for the Envelope Distort. All right, let's start stepping things up just a little bit. Once again, let's click and hold our rectangle tool and we'll drag down to our polygon tool. Click anywhere on screen. Let's have our polygon with a 50-point radius and 6 sides. I think that's called a hexagon. Once that's been done, let's change our fill to black just so we can see things a little bit more clearly. Then let's rotate our shape 90 degrees. We do this by selecting our rotate tool, double clicking, and let's change our rotate angle to 90 degrees. We can preview to make sure that works. Yes, it does, and click OK. Once we're done with that, let's enter our type. We'll select our type tool and let's enter the word run. Note that all caps is still selected. Let's select all of our type and let's change our type to Techo semi-bold. If you don't have Techo on your machine, please know that it's available at pixelsurplus.com. Simply do a search for Techo and download. Once that's done, let's deselect our type, again pressing the control button, clicking anywhere on your screen. Next, we'll grab our selection tool, we'll click on our shape, again select object, arrange, bring to front, or shift control right bracket. Once that's done, we'll select both our type and our shape and select Control Alt C. All right, there you go. Now we're starting to move into a little bit more of a complex shape. Now, one thing I wanted to talk to you about also is how do we color our shape. If I select this piece right now and try to change the color, note nothing happens. Once we're happy with our type shape, the way we change it is we select our object, then we select Object, Expand. We click OK. And then once it's been expanded, we can change the color of our shape. We can double click on our fill color once again and change the color how we see fit, and the color changes. Note that we're changing the color of the entire type shape. If we want to change individual elements, we can use either our direct selection tool, click and drag over a specific part just like that, and we can change the color how we see fit. Deselect. Or of course what we can do is we can grab our selection tool, select our shape, and then right click on it and select ungroup. Sometimes that takes a second to ungroup our entire shape, just like this. We'll select ungroup one more time. And now that breaks our shape down into individual elements. So let's go ahead and change our R to a bold red. Let's change our U to black. And let's change our N to a bold blue. We'll deselect, and that's how you color type that's been distorted with Envelope Distort Make with Top Object. Let's select this, we'll group it together one more time, and let's move it off to the side so we can go on to our next element. Now this time around we're going to make a cubic shape, and I also want to talk to you about some of the pitfalls, of course, of the Envelope Distort Make with Top Object. So again, we'll select our Polygon tool and we will create a hexagon. Same radius, 50 points, and 6 sides. Once that's done, let's rotate our piece 90 degrees. Click OK. And let's manipulate our shape just a little bit more. Once again, we're going to make an ice cube, as you can see on the top right corner of your shape. This is what we're going to build. Now that we've got that, let's select our type tool. We'll click anywhere on screen once again. And with Techo semi-bold still as our type, let's write the word cube. Once that's done, let's grab our selection tool. Again, select our shape, object, arrange, bring to front. Let's select both our type and our shape. Again, let's distort our object using Control-Alt-C. This looks good, but again, look at our cube on the top right. We don't want our shape looking like that. So we can do a couple things. So let's look at one way of changing our piece. First of all, let's zoom in on our cube. The easy way to change our shape, of course, would be selecting our Direct Select tool and manipulating it as such. Let's give it a go. Let's select that top edge. Let's hold our Shift key and arrow it down 5 times. Notice what that did to our shape. Even if we changed our anchors, let's see what that looked like. Again, let's grab our Direct Select tool and let's move our handles all the way into the edges. With this final edge, let's grab our anchor point tool. We do that by grabbing our pen tool, holding it down, and selecting our anchor point. Or of course, you can enter Shift-C. There you go. Note what that did to our type. That's not what we're looking for. Let's take a different approach. The way we can make this work is we need to edit our shape before entering in our type. So I'm going to leave this on screen and let's do it one more time, but this time we're going to edit our shape. So let's select our Polygon tool one more time. We'll select it. We'll click anywhere on screen. Again, we'll create our polygon with 50 points and 6 sides. Next, we'll select our Rotate tool, rotate it 90 degrees, just like that. And just for kicks, let's change our fill to black. Now that we've got the shape the way we want, let's go ahead and edit that shape so we can get the text in right the first time. So we'll grab our Direct Selection tool. We'll click on that top anchor point, hold our Shift key down, and arrow it down 5 times, again 50 points to get that edge just right. Let's zoom in. Now that we've done that, let's grab our Type tool, click anywhere on the screen, and let's write cube. Once we've done that, let's deselect our type, again holding the Control key and clicking anywhere on screen. Let's grab our Selection tool, we'll select our shape, select Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. Now let's select both of the objects and apply our Envelope Distort, again using Control-Alt-C. Let's click off of it. This time around, let's zoom out just a little bit and let's bring these two next to each other so you can see the difference. Use this as a simple reminder to edit your shape before bringing your type in. Let's just move on and get rid of the ugly shape. Alright, so let's take one more step in accordance with the image on the top right hand corner. Let's do one more thing. Let's show you another way to use Envelope Distort, Make with Top Object to make a complex shape. This time around, let's select our Rectangle tool and let's click anywhere on screen. This go around, let's make our rectangle 50 points wide by 50 points tall. Click OK. Let's grab our Type tool one more time. Click anywhere on screen and let's enter the word ice. Once done with that, let's deselect our type, again by holding our Control button, clicking anywhere on screen. Let's grab our Selection tool, bring our shape to the front, again Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. We'll select both shapes and again enter Control-Alt-C for our Envelope Distort. Now let's rotate, then play with our Scale tool to get our shape just right. First thing we're going to do is we are going to rotate our shape 45 degrees. We can preview, make sure our shape looks right. Looks good to me. And then let's zoom in and position our top shape almost exactly where we want it. Let's grab our selection tool. We'll click and move it to align with the middle of our point in cube. Once we've done that, let's grab our scale tool. We'll double click on it. And let's select non-uniform. This time around, we'll leave horizontal at 100%. And then let's select vertical. We're going to use our directional keys to adjust our shape to how we want it. Let's make sure that our preview is selected, and let's start arrowing down. It looks pretty good right there. Let's click OK. And then let's move our shape down. Again, let's hold our Shift key and arrow it down to where we want it. Now that we've got our piece in position, let's double click our scale tool one more time. Let's select uniform and change our size to 105. Click OK. Let's arrow it down in position. Looks good right there. Let's grab our selection tool, click anywhere on screen, zoom out, and there we've got our shape. Now let's add some color to this piece as well. The way we do that is with our selection tool selected, let's drag across our entire shape, and we'll select Object, Expand. What that did was expanded both of our shapes individually, so you'll notice if I deselect, I'll click on Ice, that is its own complex shape. And if I select Cube, that serves as its own complex shape as well. So with Cube selected, let's double click on our fill. Let's make that a bit of a darker blue. Looks good right there. Click right there. Then let's select Ice and make it a lighter blue. Double click, and let's pull it right up to about there. Let's deselect. With our selection tool still selected, we're going to drag across both elements, and let's group them together. Let's move that off to the side just a little bit. Let's move on to our final shape. Let's bring our entire page into view. Now let's get a little bit more complex here. Let's deselect our shape. Let's grab our rectangle tool. This time around, we are going to create a fish shape. Again, you can see it at the top right. We'll do this by grabbing our rectangle tool. We'll click anywhere on screen. And let's make a rectangle that's 100 points wide and 100 points tall. Once that's done, let's grab our rotate tool and let's rotate it 45 degrees. Once our shape has been rotated, let's grab our direct selection tool and let's select our top and bottom anchor points. We do that by clicking and dragging across our top anchor point, holding our Shift key and dragging across our bottom anchor point. Notice that once I've selected them, if I zoom in, you can see it more clearly. You can see the bevel points for our anchor points. Next thing we want to do is we want to select either of the bevel points and let's drag it down almost the entire way. Looks good to me just like there. Once we're done with that, let's click anywhere on our screen to deselect. And we're going to start by making our fish tail. So we're going to grab our selection tool. We're going to click, copy and paste in front. Holding our Shift key down, we're going to arrow to the right about that far right there. Again, we're going to copy and paste in front. We're going to hold our Shift key down, and we're going to arrow to the right once again, so that the front edge of our selected shape meets the back edge of our original shape. Once we've done that, with our selection tool still selected, we're going to drag across both of those shapes. Once that's done, let's select our Pathfinder tool. You can find that by selecting Window, Pathfinder, or Shift-Control F9. Once that's done, let's go into our shape modes, and the second one from the left on the top row is minus front. Let's click on that, and there we go. We've got our fish tail. Let's set up our shape. In order to set up our shape, we need to go into outlines. The way we go to outlines is enter Control Y. And notice right there, we still have our shape together, but we do not have the colors involved. This gives us the chance, with Smart Guide still selected, that we can center a new rectangle right above our original shape. Let's get started with that. Let's select our rectangle tool. We'll hover over it until we hit our center. Then we'll click and start dragging out. As we're dragging out, let's press our Alt key until we get the shape about just like that. I think that works well right there. Once we've completed our rectangle, what we're going to do is we're going to create the fish ends, and then we're going to create the shape that our type is going to reside in. So let's go. Let's grab our selection tool. We'll click and drag over our original shape and the rectangle. We'll copy and paste it in front. Holding our Shift key, let's arrow to the left until we've got two similar shapes. Now what we'll do is let's select our original shape again with our selection tool. We'll just drag over just like that. And then again with our Pathfinder tool, let's select minus front. Note that if we leave outlines again by entering Control Y, we've got most of the fish shapes already complete. Let's go back to outlines and let's click and drag over our final two shapes just like that. Once that's done, instead of selecting minus front, right here we're going to go one next to it and select intersect. This creates a new shape out of where the two shapes intersect. We'll deselect that, and this is the shape where we're going to enter in our type. Let's go ahead and exit outlines, and we can zoom out just a little bit. Now that we've got this, let's grab our type tool once again. And note our type is still Techo Semiwold. We're going to click anywhere on screen and we're going to write fish. Once done with that, let's deselect our type again by pressing Control and clicking anywhere on screen. Once that's done, let's grab our selection tool. We'll click on our newly created shape, bring it to the front by selecting Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. Next, we'll select both our shape and our type, and we will select Control-Alt-C, and we can select either Control-Alt-C or, as a refresher, Object, Envelope Distort, Make with Top Object. We can deselect to see our type shape, and then we can reselect, hold our Shift key down, remember it's precise, and arrow it back over to its original position. We'll zoom in and deselect, and we're looking pretty good there. Once again, to change the color of our shape or to edit the color of our shape, we need to select our type shape and select Object, Expand. Once we've done this, let's grab our eyedropper tool, and with our type shape still selected, let's click on the color that we want. Once done with that, let's grab our selection tool, we'll click on our shape, and let's just tidy it up just a little bit. This go around, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the tail, I'm going to arrow it out just once to get it clear of the body. And then let's grab our entire fish shape, select our Pathfinder tool, and let's select Unite. Now this is a singular completed shape. Let's just tidy it up just a little bit by selecting our Ellipse tool. We'll click and drag a circle somewhere where the eye should be. Let's change the eye color to white. Click OK. Grab our Direct Select tool. Drag across both our ellipse and the first part of our fish, just like that. And let's select minus front to embed the eye as part of the shape. We'll deselect. Let's zoom out. Let's grab our selection tool. Once again, let's select Unite to bring all of those shapes together once again. Let's click and drag, move that underneath cube, deselect, and we are done. All right, like I'd mentioned, Envelope Distort Make with Top Object does have its limitations. Check out right here what happens when we try to embed text into an octagon. To get that right, we'd use a function called Envelope Distort Make with Mesh. So check out my next video to learn about that. With that in mind, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. Otherwise, throw me a like. I'd really appreciate that. Otherwise, subscribe. I'd appreciate that just a little bit more. We will see you next time. See you.